Okay guys, welcome to Pro Bricky exclusive YouTube channel, and we're going to do a response video. A very regretful lady who has had an affair on her husband. We're going to see the journey that they go on to get off and on the carousel. I mean, once a woman sets her mind to it, you got no idea what extraordinary lengths she'll go to get what she wants, despite the consequences and the lies, the deceit, the delinquency, the wrong, the betrayal. Let's get into this. This is very insightful. You just need to follow this very carefully. I've had a lot of technical issues. This is my second attempt at this, guys. I usually find these problems when something dark doesn't want me to get the message across, but we're going to do this now. Very insightful video.
Okay, so a lot of people have asked, how did the affair turn physical if he lived on the other side of the country? So here you go.
Okay, so how did the affair get physical if he lived on the other side of the country? The background here is she'd been chasing this guy and emotionally having an affair with this guy for 5 months. And the husband was onto it. He was getting shitty with the phone behaviour. And this is something that I'm sure a lot of you guys have to deal with as well. Mysterious phone behaviour. They hide in the toilets on the phone. They hide in the shower on the phone. You don't see what they're doing on the phone while you're not with them. This is a particular type of woman. It's not all women. And this can happen to women that are angels, and the next thing they turn into demons. It's very hard. You can't predict female behaviour these days, guys. You're at the mercy of it. Let's just be honest. Hang on. Having some technical issues here today. God, this is a really important one. But this is going to show you the lengths that they'll go to, despite the way in which they're being looked after, to accomplish their lust. Now, I just want to say, look, she's advertising herself. She's got the cleavage out, the nails done, all the makeup and earrings in. Not a bad-looking woman. I'm sure anybody'd have a go at it if they had the chance. The guy that she's going to see is going to get the chance, and she's kind of lucky in a way too, because he had his mate with him. And with him, and just let me say, a lot of the times these women, if the guy that they meet gets the blood going, and the mate comes in, they'll take on the mate as well. I know that sounds pretty naughty and pornish, but that's the lengths that this lust can take people to. So she's working out how she can get with the guy from across the other side of the country or the state.
But before I tell the story, honestly, there's zero value in me sharing this.
Does she look like somebody that's fair income about there's zero value in her sharing this? Oh, there's value in her sharing this, all right, mate. She wouldn't be on here with the tits fucking just about hanging out and all the makeup on if there was. She's advertising herself. TikTok and Instagram and these kind of things are, in a way, dating sites, guys. They're not just things where you get on there and give out information. These are dating sites. So she's advertising herself as being on the carousel. I'm ashamed of myself, but I've been on the carousel. I know how to get the carousel to work. If you're one of these guys, some of these women will travel 6 hours, 8 hours. Some of these women will fly across the country to get their little piece of new dick. They'll ride the carousel wherever it leads them. A lot of these Sheilas will fly across to the other side of the country to meet a bloke, and he won't even be there. So don't tell me she's not advertising herself roundabout. You've got to look below the surface, guys.
Story. It's just straight shame. So I might turn the comments off on this one because this is informative since you're asking, but it's 1000% just shameful.
So what she's saying is, look, I'm going to shame myself even further. I'm going to show you how much of a slut I was during the course of when I was married. I'm going to show you all the lengths that I went to. I'm probably going to dob a couple of you and sell out a few women on the way by exposing their behaviour. Like a few of you guys might be a little bit concerned after this. I just say proceed with caution. Don't go wrecking your relationship after this, because this is pretty traumatic. I mean, the way in which she's gone about it is horrible.
So a part of me always thought that, like, if you were doing something you're not supposed to do, that, like, roadblocks would pop up as, like, signs from whoever that you should not go any farther. But that was not my experience.
So, so she's not a love. She's not a godly woman. She's just a woman that's out there. Now, don't tell me. Some of the most conscious women I've known haven't been Christians. But some of the women with the strongest consciences I've met have not been Christian women. They've had more of a conscience than the Christian women. She's not a Christian woman, and she hasn't got a conscience. Now, when they start going down this road of I'm going to pursue another man's dick, they may as well have a dick because it's male behaviour. It's not female behaviour. It's not normal female behaviour. And obviously, I would wonder what her. Look, I'm only guessing, but a lot of the times this happens when there's a breakdown in the marital aspects of the parents. So I'm not sure what's caused this woman to do this, but she doesn't look like a drug addict or anything. She's in her right mind, but what she's saying is she believed wrong and right, whether you should pursue evil or not, is based on whether the situations get interrupted or not, which is a very naive way of thinking about things. Or is she just saying this as a means of making excuses for her to be able to pursue down a carousel path, the cock carousel path? You decide that for yourself. But for me, I think she's just making excuses to lighten the effort that she went to get where she gets, and you'll see this in a minute.
So him and his friend were flying to California to vacation mid-pandemic. California was a little bit more open than where they were in. So they were going to be staying in LA, which was like almost 2 hours from me. And so when I realized they were staying in LA, I was like, no way, I'm going to be going to LA. It wouldn't make sense. I never go to LA.
Now, who wouldn't it make sense to? It wouldn't make sense to the husband, right? So she is craftily and strategically constantly trying to figure out ways in which she can get to this other guy without jeopardizing her marriage. But how stupid is that? How immoral is that? See, in the old days, these Sheilas used to get stoned to death. If you tried this in the Middle East, you'd be stoned to death because they know where it ends up. They know where this kind of behaviour ends up. It ends up in families being fragmented, which is the whole substance of community. You know how important family is. Not anymore, not round here. They couldn't care less about family. And this is one of the fruits. This is one of the fruitful or fruitless ways in which these women destroy families. She's setting about willfully and determinedly to destroy her family for a moment of what? Somebody else's jizz all over her tits? I don't know. Because I don't think it went the way that she thought it was going to. Just watch this space, guys.
I wouldn't even be able to tell my husband I was going to LA because it wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah, like, fuck the husband. I've got to find a way of getting around him. I've got to get to this other bloke. How am I going to deceive the husband into believing what I'm going to be doing is okay when I'm going to suck somebody else and probably get somebody else's cock up my ass? That's what these Sheilas are like, man. I know I'm being blunt, but let's call it for what it is.
So I was like, cool, that's not going to happen. But then they
Right, so it's not going to happen, but my mind's still working out a way in which I can make it happen.
Decided to go and stay in San Bernardino, which, if anyone knows anything about San Bernardino, no one flies to California and stays in San Bernardino. And so I was
Right, so get it. The guy on the other end's gone, shit, she ain't going to come over to where we're headed. Let's go a little bit closer to where she is and tempt her to get over here to meet us. Because he would have seen her pictures and shit. She's probably showing him his tit, showing this guy her tits and whatever else they do. This is what they do. I've experienced it myself. You send for a picture of the tits, you're having sex on the phone with them and that. Poor old hubby's clueless. Because once you get the blood going, they're like sharks that have tasted human blood. Once you blood them, they can't stop until something drastic happens. Well, this Sheila's doing everything she can to make this happen, guys.
like, okay, well, that's a little closer. So it was closer, but at the same time, I wasn't going to be able to go see him because my husband wasn't working that weekend.
Oh, so see, can you see the craftiness in her eyes? She's trying to work out how I'm going to deceive the husband in a way in which I can get to this other guy. Oh man, it is bad. It is. But is it bad? To this culture of women, it's not bad. She's a hero. Can you understand that? This Sheila will be hailed as a hero.
Until he was. He got a call to see if he wanted overtime for the day, which, again, out of my control.
Oh,
Thinking,
yeah, because it's out of her control. This is all his fault. Now I can go and see the other bloke. The husband always indirectly gets the blame, guys. You got to accept this. The husband always indirectly will get the blame.
roadblocks will pop up. No, roadblocks don't pop up. Options popped up.
So there's no element of conscience. There's no element of responsibility or accountability. I'm just going to do what I want to do the way I want to do it, and it's all going to be put back on him for being at work all the time, for not looking after me the way that I should have or he should have. He wasn't giving me what I wanted, and so I'm going to take it out on him by getting somebody else's dick.
So all the roadblocks that I had imagined keep.
See, she was relying on roadblocks in terms of exterior interferences, which is making an excuse for herself relative to a conscience. She didn't want to put any accountability or responsibility on herself in the way in which she wanted to go about reaching this other person. She wanted to make her conscience numb. And this happens to a lot of religious people. Good people going bad. But this is a real strange situation here in the sense of it's not driven by betraying religious beliefs. This is just driven by normal human instinctual tendencies to do evil.
Keeping this from happening, him being too far away, my husband being at home, they all went away. And this was the day I realized that cheating is a choice. Because
No, it wasn't the day that she realised cheating is a choice. It was the day that she made the choice to cheat. You see, she didn't realise that cheating was a choice until later. So she's a little bit ahead of herself here. This is the day that she made the choice. She would have been wet, ready, tits hanging out, ready to go and get bonked by this new fucking bloke and possibly his friend.
up until this point, 5 months of just chatting online, this was going to make it real.
This was the big crescendo. This is what it was all about. This is it. Somebody else is going to be licking me and kissing me and all the stuff that goes with it, and screw the husband. Husband's long forgotten at this point.
And so
Now, what was she shaking her head at? Really? Her own stupidity and folly? Is she really going to change after all of that? Where is she at now? I know she's lost the marriage and all the rest of it.
we were just going to go up to the mountains. My husband knew I was going to the mountains. He just didn't know who I was with. But I first met them at their hotel.
So she's probably driven the husband around the bend, made up a bullshit story. I've heard all this before myself. He's probably argued with her and whatnot and just decided, oh, we'll just bloody well go. Terrible. She would have drove this bloke around the bend to get what she wanted, despite how he would have felt.
Since he was with his friend, and then we were all driving up to the mountains together. Also, just as like an aside, yes, the talking online for 5 months was also an issue, but that is an issue that I am 1000% sure my husband could have got over.
Oh, well, obviously the husband was having trouble with it, right? And she's just pushed it, and this is what they do. They drive you around the bend. Couldn't care less. And the poor old hubby's just probably given in and gone to work again. They just wear you out.
But the physical and the lie, it's a little bit different. So
Oh,
I
a little bit different? She would have been lying for 5 months. There is a big difference. The emotional, covert emotional betrayal journey, let me say that again, covert meaning secret betrayal journey of 5 months led to the physical outcome. This was a thought out, navigated, constantly strategized journey to where she got, despite probably the husband trying to turn it around. That's why he's chucked the towel in at the end of all of this. But she couldn't have cared less at the time.
I went to this guy's hotel to meet them, and um,
Like no different to a prostitute. This is the representation of her for her family. This is representing this man's name and everything and reducing it to some stranger and his friend. She could have got it both ways, this Sheila. We don't know what was going on in her mind. It's many a time Sheila's gone to meet one bloke and got two each end. I mean, let's just be real here. In the mood and in the moment, don't underestimate.
he needed to finish getting ready, so he's like, just come up. So I went up, and then all of a sudden his friend needed to go do something. So then
And usually what happens is the person that they go to meet gets them all, horny and all the rest of it, and gets the actions going, and then just by chance the friend walks in, and the next thing we've got a threesome on our hands.
it was just us in the room.
Which is exactly what she wanted. Look. Which was underneath, look. Which was exactly what she wanted. She got what she wanted. Not very convincing. The choice was made. See, now, I don't think she got what she wanted. She got what she wanted, but she didn't get what she expected. Right? She just didn't. Look at the disbelief and disappointment in herself because she didn't get what she expected. She got what she wanted, but not what she expected. And this happens 9 times out of 10. And guess what they do? They run back to the husband.
As much as I wish there had been some type of massive roadblock to that happening.
No, as much as I wish it would have been better than it was. As much as I wish it would have been better than it was. It was a complete disappointment. Look.
The fact that there wasn't I am ashamed of myself.
The fact that there wasn't is irrelevant. She's got has she got a conscience? At any point, right, when the husband's pulling her up and trying to turn her around and get sense out of her, she could have stopped. But she lost her mind to lust. She was deceived by lust. And she fell prey to her own lust. And she lost the lot. And this happens every day. It happens to men and women. But women seem to be the ones making the big mess of it now at the expense of men, good men, that are trying to provide for them and love them and make a good life for them. Maybe they're too good. That comes down to personal skills and ways in which you navigate woman. If you've got a hard one. They're not all tough. But this one she would have been an absolute nightmare. She would have had a dick. You weren't going to get anywhere with this, Sheila.
For the choice I made that day and other days after that, but
the choice I made that day and other days after that. A little slip there, so she continued on.
Cheating is a choice. And it has consequences, and I'm living those consequences. So, here's the story. This story adds no value to my healing. It just kind of...
Okay, so there you go, guys. It is a choice. It has consequences, but she didn't care about that at the time, and most of them don't. you need to consider all this and use it to your bettering yourself, because once the signs are there, guys, you've got to really take action and take action fast. Remember, my last wife started playing up. I knew what she was doing. Oh, I'm going to be late from work. She was gone. 4 weeks. Gone. I kicked her out. Cost me a fortune, but I wasn't going to tolerate it. This is Pro Bricky on Pro Brick exclusive channel. Please subscribe to the channel if you like this content. Click the bell and we'll see you on the next one.